What's up guys, Togo here and welcome back to more Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. In the last episode, we escaped the Shroob Mothership only to end up in a version of Toad Town that seems to have already been attacked by the Shroobs based on these purple mushrooms we have here. In this episode, we're going to see if we can make it to that time hole in the bottom left that we know will restore us to Peach's castle. And the first order of business is coming into this, what appears to be a shop, as Stuffwell kind of instructed us to do. Oh, mercy. I didn't think there was a soul left in these parts. Are you folks here to shop? Why, Grandma Green, we have customers. Oh, no, not a second one. I guess that's, 2 for the price of 1 grandmas. Haha. Yeah, they're the last ones left. Oh, terrible loneliness. When you're as old as us, loneliness is all you can count on. They say a lot of stuff. Excitement's got me feeling like a teenager. Ooh, welcome. Coming into Grandma's place, would you like to peruse our selection of gear? The one on the right is a gear shop. This is similar to the shop from the Gritzy Desert Caves. You can get some gear that I believe you can only get here. I'm not sure if these end up being available later. So we can see for the adults there, if I switch over to the top screen, the Shroom Slacks are a straight increase for Mario. On Luigi, we would lose the speed and stash buff, but look at that, 20 additional HP and 40 additional defense for Luigi, compared to the Star Trousers, which give a 15 boost to power, along with an even bigger boost to defense or a bigger boost by 5. So it's a question of, would you rather have the higher defense with power or the lower defense with extra HP? Considering I've been defeating stuff way too easily, I think I'm going to go with the HP buff, because I'd rather not have to worry about dying rather than taking out enemies faster. As for the babies, we can see everything's an upgrade to the golden pants. We have similar thing though. Here the cheaper option is a 10-point smaller buff to defense and would give 15 HP, whereas the stronger one would give 10 attack. Again, think I'm going to go with the one that boosts the HP. Although, really, on the babies, I've said up to this point that the attack is more useful because you're going to be mainly in the piggyback formation, but we're going to do a lot of outside piggyback formation battling here in Toad Town. Register Salvage Badge A. Get a higher chance of collecting the items used after battle, just an upgrade to Salvage Badge. Risk Badge, the less mushrooms you have, the more you deal. We already have one of those. And the Safety Badge, greatly decrease, all damage given and received. So that lines up with the Risk Badge that we saw we could get from Fawful down in the Bean Shop. In terms of regular items, you can buy Max Mushrooms, as well as Ultra Drops, and 1-Up Supers. I don't think we're able to purchase those in the normal shop. I'm trying to look. I don't think there's anything I really would want to buy a bunch of, except for maybe some more super drops. Those can be very valuable. But other than that, I think we're pretty good. However, on Burrow's items, we have 2 new items. So we've already gotten everything up through Copy Flower. We see now the Red Shell and the Mix Flower. I believe these are the last 2 Burrow's items in the games. It's kind of surprising you can get them this early. The Red Shell, definitely worth picking up a few of these, although, actually, no, it's not, because we're going to find a bunch outside. I'll just buy 2, just in case. Mixed Flower, we'll also buy 2 of, we'll go with 3. I don't think we're actually going to be finding a lot of these at all. The Red Shell, I'll just go over very quickly. If you saw there, it says target successive. The idea is it's a green shell, but after defeating one enemy, it moves on to another one. So all those times where I've been annoyed that I just need a little bit more damage left on multiple enemies, the red shell is perfect for that. We're going to make our way counterclockwise around this area by starting off with a couple of items that you can grab here inside, but there's actually no need to do that. I completely ignored the fact that you need to burrow / bury into this side room where you can grab a whole bunch of coins as well as a bean. There are some beans, but not nearly as many as other areas, as well as even more coins. Whoop-de-doo, super useful. And then you can drop down. So you could have done that all in one go around, but I wasn't thinking. Now, there clearly was some sort of mechanical shroob-looking guy that we're going to go ahead and fight. This is the Shroid. They have around 110 HP, and they've got some really interesting attacks, in my opinion. All right, he pulled down a ball with Mario on it. I'm going to intentionally miss this one. You can see that the M, or you can imagine there would be an L for Luigi, ends up facing away from you once it falls, so you have to pay attention. And you'll notice the one that we hit with that counterattack ended up kind of sparking, whereas the one that we just attacked regularly did not. Notice the M, it's actually now going for Luigi. After being hit by the counterattack of this, of the spike ball, they malfunction and will target the opposite of whatever they indicate. That right there is Shy Guy Says, which I'm so happy is an attack. I just think that's so awesome. But you just need to jump properly. Now, as you can imagine, oh, well, that's what happens if you fail. He just throws the flags at the corresponding brother. What I was going to say is, as you can imagine, similar to how the action commands are, well, that took him out, but we'll go ahead and get in another battle anyway. Similar to how the action commands are backwards for the dodging of the ball attack, if he's malfunctioning, you need to jump with the opposite brother. All right, come on, let's get this over with. He goes so slow at the beginning. I wish it would just auto pass you after jumping and not make you wait out the timer. What I'm trying to say is if he's malfunctioning, all right, let's see if he'll do it now. When he's malfunctioning, if he raises a red flag, you jump with Luigi. He raises a green flag, you jump with Mario. Do it, please. Oh, he wants to show his other attack. But clearly he raised both flags. That doesn't mean don't jump at all. That means since the opposite of red is green and the opposite of green is red, he's still raising both, so you still jump with both. That right there was his last attack, which they can throw those, what do you call them? Like little crystals onto the bros, and you need to jump repeatedly to get them to fall off. Finally, they're going for Luigi with this tag. I find it pretty easy to hammer back. I don't know why, compared to some other attacks that give me a lot more trouble. All right, come on. I really want to show the flag attack. No, you just want to do this again. You just need to jump repeatedly and the crystal will break. They give you plenty of time, and then it'll select one and you can jump. I messed up the timing there right as I was about to say. It's really not that bad. Also, now with this HP bonus of the gear we just bought, we're actually in... Dang it. We're actually in range of wanting to use Ultra Mushrooms, I'd probably say for the first time. So, I'm probably just going to cut ahead in terms of, yeah, you can see there's a bunch of red shells right here. Also a 1-up super. I'll cut any battles until I get to the thing I want to show. Worth noting there, they can actually try to fake you out, similar to in Shy Guy Says. Well, Mario got a level up after I sat in that fight for about 3 minutes or so, trying to get a malfunctioning Shroid to do the... we'll go with speed, why not? Trying to do the flag attack, and when I got them malfunctioning, I just kept spamming items to stall turns without damaging them. And all they would do is the gun attack, which doesn't change when they malfunction, as well as the, what's the other one? The tossing the spike ball attack, which does change, but I've already shown that, so that's kind of annoying. The only new thing I saw in that fight was that the, if you fail to counterattack them throwing the spike ball on you, it can make you dizzy, which happened to Mario, and then he missed his turn. Ooh, actually, when you go out there, it puts you on the bottom screen. Cross that bridge, go back into the top screen to grab a whole bunch of items. Wow, 2 green shells, 2 mushrooms, a coin, a Dire Pal badge, and 50 coins. Dire Pal badge is really the only thing in there that's worth it. But we already know what that does, if I can find it in my Yeah, we've seen the Dire Free Badge. Use as many attack items as you like when you have less than a quarter HP left. So Power Badge means it raises power. Dire means it's when you have less than a quarter HP. So huge boost of power, whatever huge means, or sorry, tremendous. But you have to be less than a quarter HP. And you can't burrow through this wood for some reason. I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't make sense, doesn't have to make sense. But you don't have to go back there, you can just drop down here. For some reason, you can only go under metal grates that you would think would be driven into the ground, whereas wood that probably doesn't go into the ground, you can't go under, but hey, I'm not the one in charge. If we head down here, we'll see that the Shroobs, I guess, or Toad Town has figured out the ultimate defense, which is putting metal grates under your metal gates. No one can get through, but only the adults can jump high enough to hit this block, and we need babies on the other side to activate some blocks. So we're going to have to split up, and that's why I'm saying definitely valuable to have things other than just power on the babies. Go ahead and try to get the attack shown on these guys. Finally, here we go. Well, you can see right there the point I was trying to make, which is that when they raise one flag, you have to jump with the opposite color, and I failed to do it correctly, but it shows that even if you are only failing with one of the bros, they still throw the flags at both. So, yeah, I spent forever grinding it out. They really seem like they don't enjoy doing that attack, but I had a feeling we were going to get a level up on the babies, so I knew I was going to have to talk through that end of the fight anyway. Let's see, where do we have... Oh, wow. All right, defense. Okay, speed is like all 6s and 5s. Sure, whatever, just do it. And there's our first stat. Well, besides HP, to go over 100. I wasn't going to say normally, like, it's fine. Like, or not it's fine, but in most games, it's not surprising to have HP be the first over 100. But if you actually look at the stats in this game, HP is not typically that much higher than the other stats you have. So it's kind of interesting that that's the case. We definitely, we can see that there's another one of these houses where you can burrow in through the side room, so I'm not going to make the mistake of doing it second this time. Grab, what was that, 100 coins, an ultra mushroom, as well as a bean here. Just checking to make sure we're not missing anything. No, seems like we should be good. Up here, you can grab another 50 coins. Come down in here and grab 1 whole coin and 2 whole green shells. Woohoo. Yeah, now that we have access to red shells, let me switch scenes. The green shells really are just absolutely worthless, in my opinion. Actually, let's check. How many of those do we even have? Yeah, I bought like 2 red shells. We're now up to 8 compared to our 70 red shells. Oh, I may want to buy a little more than 8, but we'll see. The green shells actually still do have a use, which obviously if you're only fighting one enemy, I can't remember if the red shells do more damage or not. I want to say they do, not because I think they do, but because I just really hope that they do, because I feel like it would be dumb if they didn't. Anyway, in this house, we send the babies across and over into the next room across. Now, I highly recommend walking into this house instead of letting yourself fall down, and you can grab 1 whole coin and 2 red shells. Never mind. I thought there wouldn't be a grate here, because if we look on the bottom screen, there is that wood there, but there's grate under the wood, so whatever. Anyway, we have another new enemy. This is the Skelo Key. I guess I said that without actually showing it. The Skelo Key has about 96 HP. On its turn, it'll bring over a bunch of segments, and you'll see them spin similar to the Pokey. This is one of its attacks, you just need to jump over it, but then it gets its segments back. You can't jump on it because it's got a spiky head. And if you hammer it, what do you think is going to happen? You're just going to knock away 1 segment. So what you need to do is use your shells. This is why they introduced a new type of shell. However, the green shell is fine because you can see... Well, I wasn't supposed to miss the thing because then it's immediately going to come back. But you can continue to damage it once you get to the head. On its turn, though, it can also breathe fire like that. Let's try that green shell one more time. See how much damage it does, and then we might try out a red shell just to compare for any damage. If wow, a lucky hit on something with 0 HP. Whoop-de-doo. We're doing about 5 or 6 damage per hit. And now that it's on the ground, you can go ahead and hammer it, obviously, but I want to try the red shell just for damage comparison, not that we even need it. I mean, 8, 7, So it does a little more damage, but honestly not so much, at least on this particular enemy, that I think it's like a huge game changer, right? In this completely demolished house, you can grab 3 red shells, and I believe that's the only thing on this side of the gate, so we'll go ahead and head under. And there's yet another new enemy. We're gonna first go ahead and fight one more Skelo Key, just because I think they have something else they can do. Yeah, they definitely do. We'll take a turn. Oh, I've already shown hammering. Wow, lucky hit. Indeed, 54 damage. All right, here we go. So we've already seen that you can jump over them, but it has this attack where... Oh, I'm really bad at timing this attack. That attack where instead of jumping over the segments, it eats them and spits them out. The timing is a lot harder because you have to pull up the hammer, which means there's that delay in actually getting to release the button to correctly counterattack. Wow, I'm really bad at the green shell for some reason today. Maybe that's because I'm recording really late because my dog would not fall asleep and I didn't want him making a whole bunch of noise. But I guess we traded a green shell for a red shell in that battle, so we came out on top. That's all the attacks the Skelo Key has. I'm not very good at those hammer attacks. And let's try to show this other new enemy. This is not Starlow. This is the Love Bubble. Gonna give it a chance to show what it can do, so we're just gonna focus on the Skelo Key for now, and maybe we'll have another shot at... Okay, we're just doing the jump. You see the first 2 spun one way, and the last one spun the other way. I can never keep track of which direction is for Mario and which direction is for Luigi. Actually, I should have used a red shell right there, because I'm very curious. If you have multiple enemies, but one of them is flying, will the red shell target... Or no, it's not all, it's random. It's successive. So it won't move on to the... Dang it. Oh, I was confusing this with another enemy. It won't move on to the second target until it defeats the first one. So you don't have to worry about it just randomly choosing to go to the Love Bubble and waste your time. Alright, this is still the jump one. Again, if I were better at paying attention, I'd figure out which one does which. Spend another turn doing this. You really have no way of taking this guy out without using bros items, because by the time you... I mean, he has 3 segments. By the time you try to knock them all away with hammers, it's going to just respawn them on its turn. We've seen 2 of this thing's attacks so far. One where it kind of comes up to you, lifts a foot, and then goes in a circle around. You have to just jump in order. Also, I love the expression this thing makes when you attack it. It's like so surprised. We saw the other attack where it went up onto the top screen and dive bombed with the same tail, only hitting one brother, and there's its last attack. How convenient. If it comes up to you but it doesn't dip down, then when it picks a brother to swoop down and completes the circle, it goes above the head of the second brother, so you don't actually need to jump with that brother. You need to let it pass over your head. 2 smash eggs. I guess that's another way of hitting the Skelo Keys, which like skull pokies or skeleton pokies, I guess makes sense. Yeah, there's a few bros items you could use. You can't use the flowers because you can't hit enemies in the sky when you're just babies. That was the last of the enemies in this room, so we can head on down to this little spot. And if we hit these 2 blocks in succession, you'll see it just activates the one over there. So it's similar to the setup we had to do back in the Toadwood Forest. Now, if we bring the adults down to this same section and line them up under these blocks, we can hit all 4 of them. I forget if these things have a name, and it opens the path forward for both, as Stuffwell's probably about to tell you. I would anticipate that there will be more impedimentals like this on the road ahead. Perhaps it's best to proceed separately from the juveniles for the timing. I guess this actually is useful to make sure we don't try to reconnect and keep going and then get stuck. Also, this seems to be important. I would be remiss if I did not add that the Cobalt Star is behaving rather peculiarly. According to my analysis, the data indicates the Cobalt Star's activity is somehow related to Star Hill. My sensors indicate a pathway to Star Hill somewhere in this village, but I am perplexed by the signals the Cobalt Star is transmitting. I have no hypothesister? Not hypothesizer? Do you have a brother? Let us await a Star Hill. The answers must await us there. Back to adventure. Been a while since we heard that. And you know what? I'm not going to end the end. Blah, blah, blah. Look, you heard the guy. He said back to adventure. We're not ending the video right here. I think we'll go on first with the adults. You can see this dividing wall in the middle is going to keep us separate. And unfortunately, you'll also come across these gates, which means, yes, you're going to have to backtrack once you can get the babies reunited onto this side. I want to try to actually time this. You can, of course, counterattack on that attack. I'm not sure if you can on the dive bomb. It's pretty hard to time if you can. But I think out of these enemies, the most dangerous is probably the Shroud, just because I find this attack kind of hard. It's an attack I remember finding really fun, and it still is fun. For some reason, I'm just having a little trouble timing that dodge over the gun thing. But I don't want to only just show one fight against the Love Bubble, even though it was kind enough to show off all of its attacks in that first battle. It would be nice to have, there we go, got the counterattack, to have a little more seeing of them, and also see us fighting them with the adults rather than just the babies. I don't, oh. Well, yeah, see, they can do something else. They can heal each other. I assume they can heal... Actually, I was going to say I assume they can heal any enemy, but I think it's just other Love Bubbles. Actually, I do think they also have one more attack, but I think it can only be seen with the babies because it involves a hammer counter. Some enemies do exhibit different behaviors between fighting with just the adults, just the babies, or everyone as a group. And some enemies don't even show up at all. Like I was just saying, I don't think the Skelo Keys can be fought in these, the left side here where you only have the adults. I finished taking out all the enemies here as well as healing up. And actually, I think we need to spin jump from here. Yeah, you could just barely make it to this platform to get a 1-up mushroom. If you kind of get in one spot, you can also then get enough room to jump over to here. But there's just some coins, nothing really crazy. And yeah, we actually have a second room with the adults, which I'm going to go ahead and clear of enemies because I think we've already seen everything the enemies can do against the adults. I'm trying to get a first strike on this guy. I don't think it's going to happen unless I get it to move. Nope. I think I'll actually take this battle as an opportunity to try success with some red shells. We'll see if I can keep this going long enough to defeat one enemy and have the red shell move on to a second one. Hey, there we go. And I got one hit on it before it breaks, but you imagine you could keep going. Alright, I believe I've finished everything in this room. And as I'm spin jumping across these platforms, I'll just mention, since I've been using some pocket chomps, I noticed something that I think I've neglected to mention thus far, which is that when you try to time the action command for activating it, you can do, it's not just yes or no, there's actually a range, and depending on how well you time it, you can get a different result. You'll always get the I guess I can actually just show what I'm talking about. You'll always get the full damage, however, it'll change whether or how far you bounce. So you notice there I pressed it perfectly and Mario had this pretty high arc. It's much more noticeable when the attack is going quickly. But there was a less good timing. You see how Mario didn't bounce like all the way off screen. He landed before making it off screen, whereas there he flew all the way off. And it's not just based off of which enemy. Like, you'll notice, okay, there I did it right. Well, there I missed it entirely. So there's a good one. He went flying pretty far. Wow, I was doing this in every single battle, and as soon as I try to show it, I fail to. Well, I guess I'm leaving this battle in unintentionally so that I can just get another turn. I've also been trying, I'll mention, during these Shy Guy Says attacks, trying to see if I intentionally miss, can I correctly time jumping over when the Shroud throws the flags. And what I think I've found is, unless I've just been really bad at my timing every single time, that it actually disables your ability to jump. So you can't dodge the flags being thrown if you mess up the Simon Says segment. Alright, no, that was still perfect. Again, it's much easier once it gets going fast. There was a good example. He didn't jump quite as far. There also, I pressed the button a little bit early, so I'm not jumping as far on these. and you'll see, whereas that's better timing, the better timing helps you build up a much longer gap from the chain chomp. There was a much shorter jump. There was also a shorter one. That's a short one, but look at how much different the arc is. There we go. Finally, seem to actually be able to... You can see the difference between those two right there, the high arc and the low arc. So finally, I think we've got an example of what I was trying to explain. Now, if you'll excuse me, I will take out the rest of the enemies in this room. Seems like that love bubble was actually the last fight, and speaking of love bubbles, I believe I haven't mentioned this yet, but they have around 95 HP, which seems to actually be fairly accurate, because the smallest amount of damage I've seen take one out is 100. Right there, we just got the Paraslax. See, that gets rid of the HP bonus that we have on the adults right now, but it gives an additional 20 defense and a ton of speed. We're talking 80 speed here. You can see it says Light Slash with a Paracupa. With Paracupa wings, they give it tremendous speed. This will pretty much guarantee that whoever wears it goes first, considering our speed stats are so low. This, honestly, with all that defense, is probably worth it over the HP. And since Mario already tends to go before the enemies, I'm definitely putting this on Luigi. I don't see any other any other place that I would want to put this. Also, of course, there was another one of those baby-only houses in that room. But again, we'll have to reunite much later because for now, we've reached the next segment with the bros here, but the babies still have another room to go through that I think we're going to do in the next episode, all right? In between episodes, I am going to go back and stock up on mushrooms just because in all my stalling, I've been using up a lot of our regular mushrooms, and since they're so cheap, I might as well just grab a bunch. But next time, we'll get through this gate, which seems to be the last one between us and both the time hole as well as that warp pipe. So hopefully that will take us to where we need to go next. Otherwise, we'll get a chance to regroup at the castle. See you guys next time.